Okay, so if we have a list, we want to add something to it. Here it's a declaration of an empty list. So now I will go for list ENTS, put a dot on the end of it, and then there is something like add. This add is adding an element to the end of your list. Okay, so it should work now. Then we want to see it. So if we want to see it, we have to create, for example, we have to change the right line into something which will be showing our list integers. I will use maybe this. So let's put console. Right. Or sorry, we will put it directly into the for loop. To just be faster, console. Right. Line I, and that's all. I will click start. So we should have from 0 to 9 a list of and if I have something like this, which I don't want to right now to be debugged because it's something which was it's not necessary, I can use commenting the whole. If I use the slash and the star, and then at the end of the part which I want to take off from the code, I will one more time use a star and the slash. I can put in the comment the whole part of the code. And now if I will start, you will see that the debugger will not read the green part. So he will just put from 0 to 9. Okay, so this is like the for loop, but we would like to, I would just right now take it off, this console write line I, and this is a loop for creating, loop for list. And now I would like to create another loop for reading these leads. So I would loop for read or writing. Right? So this time I will not use for, I will use for each. For each, it's the kind of the loop which is just automatically go through all of the elements in the loop. So if I will go for variable e here, or I will call it e1 in list ENTS and with capital brackets, I can now go for console write line E1. So this part is responsible for creating a list, and this is for showing this list. If I click start, of course the effect will be the same, but we use two kind of the loops. So in for each loop, which is a little bit faster than for in the for this classic for loop, we go directly from element, but we are losing indexing. So we don't see the index of element. It's hard to get it. Of course, we could do something like this: ent e2 equal to 0, then console write line. I will just maybe copy it. And I will put here list ENTS from E2 plus plus. So you see that since he will be anyway jumping through all of the elements, I can create like a fake index, which will be changing after each iteration. So on the beginning, he will come with E2 equal to 0. He will take the first element from the list. And then he will start to increase the E2. And that's how we will get properly the number. So now we should have doubled the elements, and we have it 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, and so on. Yep. In your case, it's something different. Let's see. You didn't introduce E2++. No, here was okay. E2 equal to 0.
Yeah, okay.
But at the end of the whole code, here in the for loop, E2++. Very good. Now it should be fine. Yeah, because exactly, if you didn't introduce E2++, he's every time showing the index. So he's putting here index 0. So okay, so already you see how to get to the element in the list. If we have a list like this, list in NTS, let's say console right line. And then let's put 0. This is how you can get into the element. Also, we can assign this variable and say, for example, ent element 2, it's equal to, I'll just copy it. So this is how you can get to the element. Also, you can change this element, which means that, for example, list NTS, for example, 0. I want him to be equal to 10. And right now, if I will just copy paste the loop of this loop for writing lists, and unfortunately I have to create a new index. Is it still okay on the screen? Okay, so here you see he started to do it from 10. I will maybe just make like this the second one. So the second lab for writing list is just for each, for E1 in list ENTS, we have a new version. So this is how you can get into the list and say that this element should be 10. This is how you can assign element of the list to some specific variable. The different, you can sometimes sometimes you will see that some coders or in some tutorials, I will just put everything into the comment. Then you can uncomment it after all. And the different way is to operating on arrays. And sometimes you will see that you have, for example, ENT and then brackets like this. It doesn't mean that this is a list. It means that this is an array. And I will call it array1. And here I have to introduce new integer. And the difference between list and array, it's that array have to be specified on the beginning how big it is. So I leave here an empty space and it starts to turning red just because I have to introduce here a number. It means that this array will have 2 elements. So at some point it's much stiffer than the list. But for example, looping over an array can be a little bit sometimes faster. Also, it sometimes Grasshopper it's using elements in the array. So to be able to get in there, you have to understand how they are working. And then,
So int two means that there's two elements in the array.
yeah, but we don't know what are these elements right now. We just have to specify the space
This
in a memory to let the debugger know how big this array will be. Array 1, and then here I am referencing to the name, not to the position. So array element, first element, it's equal to 10. Array 1 or array 1 second element will be 22. And right now the array is specified. There is another version, but right now let's one more time create a for each loop, which will be going over this array. So this is a task for you now to work in 5 minutes to write, to create something like this. For each var in this time it has to be an array, and write me what is inside this arrays, because if I will start, nothing has been delivered to the screen. So create a for each loop which will be console write line specific element in the array. So start with the for each.